So in this video we're taking a look at 5 arcade games that Midway made that personally are just 5 that I chose that I would recommend checking out and playing. These are available in other compilations as well, just in case you can't find an arcade with these games in. But I have played one or two of these in an actual arcade as well, but I'll tell you that in this video. So Midway started in 1958. Obviously just doing amusement stuff, not into video games by then. They got their big hit when they helped Taito release Space Invaders in the American markets. And Midway's history of gaming has been sort of ups and downs. It seems to have like really good well-known games, but it's made some bad choices along the way, and unfortunately it ended. Midway closed down in 2010. So that's a shame, and hopefully someone will pick up those properties and make some more games, and hopefully we'll get some more games based on these Midway properties, so that would be interesting to see. But yeah, I thought we'd take a look back at some highlights and some great games from their good times when they were big in the arcades. So let's check them out. First up is Marble Madness. Now, I absolutely love this game, and you can see from games I've liked in the last couple of decades, like Monkey Ball and similar games like that, and the Mercury game, that I kind of like these tilting platforms or rolling a ball situations. So in this case, this one, from the visual thing, you're more in control of the ball. So you have this small marble, you have to go around these like maze-like things. There's some very difficult like sections of very narrow things, but what's great about this game, it feels great, it plays great, for the most part it still holds up really well. The music is great, the sound effects are kind of funny, and I'm going to play a little bit of music on this video so you can hear. If you can't hear it, it's because YouTube's taking it down, but hopefully you can. So here's a clip of it. And as you can tell from the gameplay, you've got to try and avoid some traps. It's mainly about the skill, about the precision of like going on these very thin sections, which reminds me of like the early Monkey Ball games. So you can see where I think like Monkey Ball might have got some influence from it. And this one just holds up generally really well, and it's like a good arcade game. Gets very difficult though. So it's definitely one that'll take a lot of time to master, but it's easy enough to pick up and play. On to our next game. Next is a Rampage. Now, Rampage to me is classic carnage action. Basically, you play as 3 giant monsters. From what I can tell from some experiment, they were human and became huge monsters. There's like a giant, like King Kong type character, a giant lizard, a giant rat. And basically, just got to climb buildings, destroy them, eat military troops. They did make a Dwayne Johnson film from this, based off this game, which I really like. Lots of people hate, but you know what? If you want silly, daft, over-the-top action, then I'd check out that film. But that's a chat for a different day. But this game, it feels great. It looks good. Some things about it have not aged as well. Like, it's a little bit flat when I come to like atmosphere of like music and stuff, but overall it still holds up. They've made quite a few versions of this, so you might be able to find another version that's added a bit more to it, but this as an original one, I still think it's really good and it's still fun to play. Now, I'd probably recommend checking out the 3-player option. Try and get 2 friends come around and play it, because once you've got 3 people, it's a lot more fun. You can see the footage is all taken with single player, but there's still quite a bit to it, and I feel like you get some good strategies. Now, it is a little bit difficult in parts of trying like the movement and trying to avoid the dynamite, and obviously like some things are like quite small on the screen, but I think it still holds up and it still plays really well. On to our next game. Next up is Robotron 2084. So a futuristic game. We've still not reached that year yet, but what can I say about this game? Now, this is like a classic when it comes to the dual stick shooters. Everyone's played stuff like Geometry Wars and other games like that kind of have like this. You're stuck in a certain area, there's like loads of bad guys coming, there's loads of colors, and now most people go, oh wow, Geometry Wars looks amazing, it's got loads of colors and little special effects and everything. But this, to me, when I played this, I was like, wow, I can see where they were inspired from. Robotron 2084 goes wild with colors. If you're epileptic, maybe don't play it, because there was a lot of flashing colours to me. So I'll just give you that warning if you actually go to play the game. But yeah, I think it sounds great. You just got to shoot like the robot bad guys, but there's like little people to pick up and save, which is like a bit of a twist on what Geometry Wars is, just shooting the spaceships. So yeah, this saves some people. There's crazy colors. It's very quick. Yeah, overall it's just great. There's not much more else to say. Like, what you see is what you get. But I'd highly recommend trying to play and check it out. And I'd love to try and find an arcade to play this in, because I'd love to see what it looks like at an arcade screen. But it looked pretty good on the TV. So yeah, definitely check that out. On to our next game. Next up is Smash TV. Now this is one many people might have heard about, but there's quite a bit more to this game than I initially thought. Like, it has more of a presentation to it. Like, there's a bit of an intro, like you're a host, not a host, you're a contestant on a game show, but there's a host as well that kind of like presents it. Some things here haven't dated as well. You can tell they're from a different era, and let's say deceptions of different roles and people aren't at its best, but just take that with a pinch of salt that this was a different time. Now, what is good about here, I love the game show aesthetic. You just go in, you got like little room similar to Robotron 64, got like twin stick shooters, like shoot everything around, collect power-ups, get better weapons, boss fights. There's like really over the top boss fights, and overall it has a great feel. And this one still holds up. I think you could jump in and maybe try and grab a second player. It's probably one of these games better with multiplayer, but yeah, just jump in. And I feel like this one you could keep doing to try and see how far you can get, which bosses you can defeat, what's your best score. It just has that good replayability. So yeah, Smash TV is definitely worth checking out. I'm surprised I've not come across like a newer version of Smash TV. I feel like it's a type of genre that would be really good with like a modern update. So but if you know of anything similar to Smash TV that you'd recommend, let me know in the comments. And on to our last game. Let's check it out. Next up is Tubin. Now, the reason I was excited about this one I actually played on a genuine Tubin arcade cabinet. So what Tubin is about is that you play as, I'm guessing, like a teenager. You're in like one of those inflatable rubber rings, you're going down the river. What's cool about this is unique buttons for like moving hands individually if you want to go forward or backwards. So the controls take a little while to get used to, but it's actually quite clever and actually adds to like the appeal of the gameplay. Instead of just like moving the stick and it would be like maybe too simple, this actually makes you think like, oh yeah, I've got to paddle more right or left with my hand to go left or right, or whichever direction you want to go. Or if you need to reverse, you need to get through gates to get special points, you need to go through different items to get more points, avoid like logs with spikes on, they look pretty dangerous, and you just got to try and avoid certain things and collect certain things, and you just keep going down and this river gets wilder and more intense and different obstacles to avoid. So, and yeah, you can do this with 2 players as well, which adds to that competition, but you could also bump into them and bump into the spikes. So yeah, Tubin's definitely good. Played in the arcade, felt great at the arcade as well. So if you can find one, and like most of these arcade games, if you're someone who lives in the UK, once everything is safe, I'd recommend checking out a show called Play Expo. They had a lot of arcade games to play there, and quite a few Midway ones were there as well. And any of these big shows like that, you might have better luck. Also, you can check out somewhere called Arcade Club. Now, there's a few of these about. I've checked out the one in Leeds, and that had a lot of good arcade machines, and they were actually in better condition than, say, the ones at Play Expo. But each event's different, and there's usually a technician about anyway to fix these. So yeah, if you can try and play these games in person once it's safe, I'd highly recommend it. But otherwise, like I said, these Midway games are in a lot of compilations. Some of the footage here was taken from the Xbox 360 version, Midway Arcade Classics, which is also available on Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S. So definitely worth checking out. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Let me know what your favourite Midway game is in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Bye!